Perfume, you had a nightcap. Now how about
There it is.
that?
Oh yeah, here it is.
A new friend, a perfect stranger. He's got a bullet with your name in the chamber. A body organ, rearranger. You feel my danger.
It's time to biatch. It's the last one. The biatchy.
I really hate technology.
What do you mean? If we didn't have technology, we
listen,
wouldn't be able to do this right now.
It's nooner time.
Okay, here we go. Now I got it.
Wait.
It's time to take a leap.
Yeah.
Jackie, Nora, and Gina for some entertainment and inspiration. Listen to them every Wednesday at noon. You can always find us at PodcastDetroit.com. I gotta ask, what were you born to do? What time is it? It's nooner time.
What time is it?
Nora,
Yo.
we have arrived.
You have arrived. No more complaining from you girls. Rocky, what are you doing? Why is your screen off?
It's all about love.
Listen,
It
don't
is.
miss it. We may still complain, just not about that.
Right.
It better not be about that because it got done. One of those creative projects on quarantine time.
That is
Oh,
amazing.
Yes, and a big shout out to Kevin Sharp from Metro 37 because he did that real quick.
Real quick. Big shout out. Thank you. It was real
Seriously,
quick.
couple hours. That was it. He got it done. So
He did a great job. I wasn't laughing at Kevin. I was laughing at you saying it was done quickly. Kevin did it quickly. You not so
well.
much.
Oh, there you are, Rocky.
Hello.
No, seriously, I got a hold of him, and I'm not kidding you, he did it within a couple hours.
He's amazing.
He is amazing. So shout out to Kevin Sharp.
Thanks, Kev.
Thank you.
Need any
Hi, ladies,
music
happy
recording?
Wednesday.
Huh?
Hi,
What?
happy Wednesday.
Happy hump day.
I have my pearls. Where's your pearls? Oh,
I don't have any.
I have
I don't
on
have any either.
I have on these. All right.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Anyway.
Today.
I have my Ellen Turner cover.
Yeah, look at you and your mugs there. Yep. Hey, did Rio's song drop?
I forgot to check. You were supposed to remind
We need
us.
to check.
Yeah.
Why do I have to remind you?
Because you have a list. We don't have lists.
You don't look at my list. None of you look at my list. All right. We got to check that and share it. I know. We got to check it and share it. All right, guys. So
You know
let's
what?
see.
Wait, since I'm BFFs with her, I'll text her and find out.
All right.
Yeah, there you go.
Please.
There
And
we
can you share the link,
We
please?
just got the true inside scoop
Yeah.
here.
Yes. Yes.
I'll share the link too. After
You
the
know,
show, I'll text my friend Rio.
Oh, go ahead, do it now. You can do it now.
Well, we're all watching.
Let's get it done. All right, you guys, quarantine, it's almost over, is it?
Thank
Almost
God.
over.
Look, did anybody watch Saturday Night Live? You know
No.
they're doing it from home.
With
Yeah.
Brad Pitt is
Yeah,
Fauci.
it was so good.
It
I
was.
did see that, actually. Yeah, I did see that. That was hilarious.
Yeah, he
And
did a good
Governor
job.
Whitmore made a guest appearance, didn't she?
Yeah.
She was.
Really?
Yeah, somebody played her. I can't remember what actress
Oh,
played her, but it was hilarious. And
wow.
on the news, she's been saying, she's like, the only thing that they got wrong was the fact that I was drinking a Labatt, and I wouldn't be drinking a Labatt. She said I would be drinking a Two-Hearted Ale or another Michigan beer. So
That's awesome.
a good sport about it.
Oh, no, I didn't see it. All right, but okay, so what's been the most difficult thing for you guys so far with this whole experience? Nora, what about you?
Just, when Terry gets home from work now, I'm talking to him a mile a minute because it's like, guess what happened? And what are you going to do? And how was your day? And then he's like, oh my God.
I have to say,
and I don't realize I'm doing it. Well, I don't realize that I feel like I'm not seeing anybody or whatever. He was like, well, you went out today because I had to go out and pay some bills. And I was like, it's not the same, because it's like you go to the same spot, place, the same store, and then you come back home. So it's not like, you know, like you're interacting with stuff, you know, so yeah. So, and I call like every hour and I say, can you come home now?
God.
Yeah, I feel like the extreme opposite of that. It's, I live with my family, I'm quarantining with my family, and I work with my family. So I love my family. Mom, I love you, but it's a bit much. Like, I literally sat in my car after work over the weekend for like 45 minutes just because I was like, I need some silence for just a little bit of time here.
Rocky, here, we can talk.
Yeah, I know. When I'm like,
Gina, what about you? What's been the most difficult?
You know what? Not being able to get out and go see friends for lunch or go wherever. Just, you know, and I mean, it's understandably you have to stay home. It's what's the safest thing to do, but I think just it's hard. And some days are harder than others. Some days I'm like, oh, I'm fine. I'm staying home. I don't want to go anywhere. But other days I want to go see a friend. I want to go to lunch. I want to just go walk around the mall. I want to go somewhere. So and it's hard. I think we go through, you know, we all have good days and bad days, and over it. And, you know, I still don't have a kitchen either. So
oh my God.
Yeah. Oh my God.
That's crazy.
That's a perfect time to remodel there, right? When you can't go out to eat.
I'm going to bring you some chicken salad and some croissants.
My God, Nora.
Denise, what about you? What's been the most challenging?
Not being able to go to Home Goods.
Yeah, no kidding.
I work at home, so it's been a little bit less trying on me, I think, than it has been on a lot of people. And but I think, you know, just not being able to go as spontaneously. You know, it's like, oh, wait, we can't go out to dinner, you know, or we can't go sit in a restaurant. We can certainly order carry out, but just those things. But compared to how, you know, most people, I know somebody that just had to cancel her wedding.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You know, when I hear about stories like that, I mean, I have nothing to complain about.
Yeah. Right. Wow.
Right.
My neighbor is an event planner at a banquet facility, and he said he talks daily to many brides who are first in tears and then sad, and then they're angry and they're bargaining, and, you know, and there's nothing he can do, and they're like, well, what about October, what about November? And he says he just keeps trying to get them to push it out further. Let's look at next year, which which no bride wants to hear, but he talks to many brides many times a day, running the gamut of emotions, understandably.
I'm wondering too how many almost weddings are being canceled because they're quarantined with their significant other, and they're like, okay, this isn't gonna, you know what I mean?
Let's cancel that wedding.
They're canceling it themselves.
They're just like, you know what, we're not gonna reschedule this, like, you know.
But, you know, I gotta tell you, it's in the beginning it was okay, but just like you said, sort of Denise said, you know, just wanting to get out and go. So I went and did groceries, and, you know, I'm not good with directions anyway. I mean, I can't, I'll get lost with the map, with GPS, whatever. Well, I didn't realize that the stores had arrows down the aisle of which way to go. And I'm just doing my shopping, you know, not paying attention, and this little old man starts yelling at me, and I just like smiled, like, he's like, you're just going the wrong way. And I was just like, what are you talking about, going the wrong? And I was just like, okay, you know.
I always go the wrong way.
I had no idea. And then I ran into him again, going the opposite direction, and he stopped. He was so mad at me. And then I realized there are arrows. Everybody's going this way for a reason.
Oh my God.
So, Jackie,
I could not get that through my head.
They make announcements to the store to tell you to go.
They do?
Yes.
See, I'm not paying attention to that.
Not only is she not reading, she's not listening.
Yeah, it's bad. Denise, congratulations on Rebecca.
No, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, her daughter's pregnant. I think I told you guys that. She's due in June, right?
She does not know what she's having. They don't want to know. They want it to be a surprise. I'm dying.
Are they going to do a reveal? Are they going to do a reveal or no?
No,
okay.
They don't want to know until the actual birth, which she just had a doctor's appointment this morning. And it's so exciting to hear the tech that did the ultrasound could see hair on the baby, which was like,
wow.
The baby has hair.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
heartburn.
No, she is, other than a little bit of, not really nausea, but a little bit of gagging every now and then. She's not had any problems at all. So
wow,
that's great.
Yeah, I'm excited.
She's due in June.
June 23rd. So she's 8 weeks away. It's like going fast.
Wow. Yeah.
And hopefully she'll miss, they're now saying that there might be able to be one other support person in the room besides her husband, AJ.
Oh.
I know. I know.
I didn't think about that because,
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, I had another friend whose daughter had her third child, and it was, like when the lockdown first went into effect, and that's a scary thing, not being able to have anybody there, no visitors, in and out. They don't want you to be there very long. I think Rebecca hopefully will miss some of that. So
okay, because we have our general manager is due in June as well, and I didn't think about that, people not going in to the hospital. I hope that I know her husband can go in, right?
Right. They're letting right now just the husband.
Oh,
so they told Rebecca if she had to have a C-section, this was a couple weeks ago, and I think it's loosening up a little bit, but that in a C-section, even AJ would have to leave the room.
Wow.
I know.
Wow,
it's all those
really?
things you don't think about. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Gosh.
So.
Well, we tell her we said hello, and fingers crossed. Hopefully everything will be good. But
we're sending prayers.
It's a tough time for the people expecting their first and weddings and everything. It's just, and seniors in high school, people graduating. Yeah, it's just so different. But there are some good things coming out of this, though. I'm sure you guys have had, I know, Denise, you and I have talked too, but what's been the positive for you?
For me, and it's so interesting that you're asking this question, because I was doing an informal poll myself and asking people what's the best and what's the worst. And the thing that everybody kept saying to me about what's the best is the slowing down feeling that they had, the less hectic, there just wasn't as much to do, and that didn't feel too bad. That actually felt good for a lot of people that go.
Right.
I think there's a lot of good things that are coming out of this. I think whenever we go through a struggle, whether as an individual or as a group, a country, a world, there are good things that come out of it. I don't think you can struggle without there being benefits of it. So I think the fact that people are realizing that we treat life like it's a race, and we got to get so much done. And so I think people are slowing down a little bit more and reassessing. And I do think, the relationship thing, like what Rocky was saying, maybe I don't want to spend this much time.
I love my family, but I won't be staying at home forever. So you're off the hook, Jackie, because
you can go anytime, sweetheart. I've been telling you that for years now.
Yeah, right. You love me.
I know. I didn't say I didn't love you. It's interesting because one of the things that, like I heard my sister-in-law say was, God, we haven't had family dinner in so many years. And like more people are sitting down now and actually having family dinner, which is nice. Instead of everybody going or being on their phones or taking care of business in between. So
I hope that when we start to resume a more normal lifestyle, a new normal, but more normal, that I hope that families realize that their children are okay if they're not involved in 3 sports. And something scheduled every night, like the theme dinners that you see people talk about. They dress like a certain dinner, or they played a game, like that family time. it's a good thing and it's important.
Yeah.
And I hope that some of this, I know in my neighborhood, there's kids outside a lot more riding bikes, and they're playing, they're playing in the front yard, or you can hear them in the backyard throwing the ball or playing tag.
Yeah.
We have sidewalks, so sidewalk chalk, and
That's great.
yeah. So I hope that when life returns to a new normal, some of this has become our new normal for our lifestyle too.
That would be nice.
Well,
Well, especially for the kids. What's that, Rocky?
I said I haven't been playing with chalk, but I've been knocking out debt. So I've been, because I'm an essential worker, guys. So
yes,
take all that.
Yes, you are.
Stanley, why don't you, Rocky?
What was that?
I'm essential.
You're essential too, Laura.
And hey, and this you filmed a while ago, but I just saw on a Facebook post you made a video with John Paul.
The gigs.
Gigs to get you through quarantine. Gigs season 3 just dropped, and I am in it. So
yes,
I'm very excited
very
about
good.
it. What's your name?
Can you say your name?
Rocky Rochelle Rochier. I did have to practice that like 18 times because I was like, Rocky, what is it?
So explain gigs real quick. Explain gigs real quick.
So Gigs is Frankie Jason Turner. It's written, directed, and he stars in it. It's a web series. It's like a comedy musical. So it's basically a lot of stories. So he's been in the music business forever, and it's a lot of it is based off of his experience in the music business. So he has just like these hilarious situations, and as a musician, like there are like characters, I guess, that are real. Like a lot of these things are based off of, like, we all have that person that we know that's like, the rapper guy, who's Kool-Aid. We all know that guy who's just like not gonna give it up. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like these funny characters that are in real life. He just experiences this, and it's through his eyes, through music, and it's just so hilarious. It's like
funny.
The glamour girl who wants to make it on Instagram. It's like, we all know that person. So it's like,
they're all on YouTube, right?
Yes. Yep. It's on YouTube. So if you look up Gigs, I think it's musical comedy web series. It's all on YouTube. So he just released season 3, and there is an episode about quarantine and stuff like that. So it's pretty funny.
Hey, so you had to learn some lines. One that John Paul did not have to learn was just do what she says. It's so much easier.
It'll be easier. I was like, well, that's a little on the nose there, Frank.
Love you, John Paul.
All right. Well, cool. And then I know May 9th, you're part of that big charity Lighthouse.
Yep. John Paul and I both have performances in the Lighthouse Live, which is to help the homeless in Detroit. So Lighthouse is an organization that's been helping the homeless for years. But with this whole pandemic, the people that their aid has tripled. So they're helping 10,000 people annually, and now that's tripled within just a couple of months. So they need a lot of help supporting the community, because they're not just helping homeless people right now. They're helping people who depend on school lunches and school breakfast to feed their families and stuff like that. So the amount of people that they're helping right now is just like through the roof. And so we, as a community, we got to kind of come together and help them support.
So May 9th, it's, where do they go? Is it on your Facebook?
Yep. I'll be sharing it. And I know all the other musicians involved will be sharing it. It's from 2 in the afternoon to 2 a.m. So it's all day. And there's a bunch of different, it's not just music. I think there's like comedians who are going to be part of it. Actors. Great. Yeah. So it's going to be a big montage of different talents. So it's, a lot of people doing a lot of cool different things. So it's going to be a really, really cool thing that they're putting together. So
Team Money's band, I think, is part of it, or he's part of it. I know that. Right on. There's a lot of great talent. It's live music all day. You can donate, contribute any way you can.
Yeah, anything, $1, 50 cents. Yeah. Whatever you can give is
$50, $100, whatever.
Yep.
And that's also being put on by Howard Hertz, who we've had on our show,
and
also
Broken Blanket. Yep, shout out to Jorg and Nikki, all those
his
guys
team.
over there,
So
Natalie.
those guys are always doing stuff to make a difference.
Yep.
Okay, well, guess what? Have you wanted to write a book?
I think everyone is. I'm going to write a book about this one day.
Yeah, everybody at some point, not everybody, but a lot of people have wanted to. I hear it all the time. How do I start? Or I want to write a book. Well, we have one of the best children's authors on our show back again, who used to host with us, Miss Denise Brennan Nelson, who just, by the way, check out this beautiful baby right here. Isn't it adorable? So I love the colors, Denise. Is this your latest?
That's my latest. Yep.
Okay, so before we get into how, let's talk about May and the Mayfly. Tell us about it.
Well, it is my latest. It just came out in March, right smack dab in the middle of this pandemic, which I tell people it wasn't exactly what I pictured for the launch of May the Mayfly, but that's
I think it's perfect timing though. Kids need that right now. They need that kind of release right now.
Yeah, that's true. And I do think people are reading more, and there is a little bit in there about mindfulness, but what inspired me to write it was I discovered that mayflies, once they hatch, only live for about a day. And so my wheels got turning, and I had a lot of questions, how would you live your whole life in one day, and what would you do? And it hit me really hard and fast, and I loved the idea immediately. And then I started to do some research, and I found out even more fascinating things about mayflies, because really up to that point, they were just a springtime nuisance, and people used them to fish with. That's about what I knew about mayflies. But like a lot of things, you start digging, and I discovered, like, one of the things I discovered that fascinated me is that mayflies, they start as an egg, they go to the bottom of the river, they hatch into a nymph. Well, after about a year or two as a nymph, there's a lot of different variations of mayflies, but they're pulled to the surface. And some mayflies resist being pulled to the surface. They keep trying to dive back down. And when I was reading it, I thought, why do they resist coming up to the surface where they can emerge from the water, shed their outer layer, and finally expose their wings and be able to fly and fully live their life? Well, the answer, of course, is fear. They're afraid of the unknown. They're afraid of, that feeling of being pulled up. And so all these things kept playing in my head, and I decided to write a story about a mayfly and how she lives her whole day, or her whole life, really in one day. And the biggest part about the story, or the most important part to me, was that she has to overcome her fear of trout or her whole life, and really in one day.
Wow.
Yeah. And then the other
could be more perfect timing for this time to release
I've had a few people say that. Yeah. Maybe. And the other part that I love about the story is when she finally sets her fear aside, and when she sees trout, and he's tangled in fishing line, as she's looking at him, she has this realization that we're not so different. She sees a scar where once he fought. And so, there's a lot of different layers to it, but ultimately it's about how do we enjoy all the beauty of this world, all the little things that can bring us so much joy, and how can we make sure that fear doesn't get in our way and stop us from enjoying life to its fullest.
That's awesome.
Absolutely love it. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So let me ask you this. Obviously, you're a very creative person. Oh, you switched over screens. Dave, are you screwing around with me here? You're obviously very creative, but how do you think creativity can help people get through this quarantine, or when they are dealing with fear or setbacks or whatever?
Well, I love that question. First of all, I think everybody's creative. I think people think of it as being, you're an artist or you're a writer, but there's so much more to creativity than that. I think the other thing that I realize more and more is that creativity and fear are linked. Creativity makes us afraid in a way, because when we're creative, we are putting things out there, our essence, our soul, our ideas, and we get afraid because we know what happens when you do that. I mean, Rocky, you know better than anybody.
Oh yeah, I was literally just thinking, I get yelled at all the time because I don't send the songs that I'm writing, and I'm like, you don't understand.
It's hard, but that's the whole thing, is we have to put it out there. I mean, nobody else can say it, write it, sing it, do it, dance it, live it, cook it, be it. Nobody else can do that but us, you know?
Right.
And if people could just understand that, first of all, you have to give up on the idea of perfectionism, because that just, no matter what. I mean, I read an article about people, you know, there's a lot of people that don't like Beethoven. And yet, you know, his work is so revered. So I just think that creativity and fear, you know, fear kind of accompanies creativity. So we have to be aware of that. And I think, Jackie, I learned from you that you have to look fear in the face. You almost have to give it a name and say, hey, you know, I think Nora, wasn't it you, Nora, that said, your mom, get in the back seat, you're not driving today, fear? Yeah. You know, I mean, wasn't that you?
No, that wasn't me.
Oh, I could have swore that was you. It was somebody that was on the show.
That wasn't me. My mom couldn't drive anyway, so.
So she liked fear.
Neither can mine.
Right?
Rocky.
Well, Denise,
that's awesome, Denise.
Before, but did you always know you wanted to write?
No, not for a very, matter of fact, my first book didn't even come out until I was like 36. But as Jackie can attest, because we've always been creative together, and that's an important part of creativity. You have to be around people that are like-minded and that encourage you. No, I didn't. I always enjoyed writing, but it wasn't until I had an idea that I felt other people would appreciate that what I thought about it, other people would enjoy hearing. And so I decided to try and, share it. And I think the whole premise of the Nooner Show has always been to take a leap of faith. And even though it took me 4 years and a lot of rejection letters, I finally got my first book published, and then I just kept writing, and I've been fortunate.
Did you want to give up? Did you want to give up ever?
Oh, many, 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 many times. Not so much once I started writing and getting published, because then I was affirmed, so, it was a little better, a little easier, I guess. But before that, when I was trying to get my first book published and I would get a rejection letter, it feels like somebody's punching you in the gut.
Yeah.
Let's
start. Right. So let's start with, for people that do want to write a book. So it sounds like the first thing you're saying is mindset. Get rid of the fear, right?
Yep.
And then how do you start? If you've never written a book before, how do you start?
And, there's almost steps. So first of all, you have to have an idea. I mean, you do. Some people think they want to write, but they don't even have an idea, which is okay, but get an idea, okay? Way back when, I had a list of ideas, and I finally said, okay, pick one idea. So pick the strongest, the thing that won't go away, that keeps coming back to you. Have that idea in your head and your heart, and maybe you won't get rid of fear, but at least have fear sit in the back seat when you first start. Right. And then, let there be for me, there's always an incubation period, if you will, kind of a mulling over in my head where I talk about it with people. Some people are afraid to share their ideas for fear that they'll get stolen. I feel the exact opposite. I feel like I have to talk about it to get it right in my head and to try it out and to hear how it sounds. So get an idea, mull it over, think about it, maybe discuss it, maybe not. Do some research. Has it been done before? Even if it has, it doesn't mean you can't do it your way. And then the bottom line is this. you have to make time every single day, at least 5 days a week. You have to sit down with either your computer or a pad of paper and a pencil or pen, whatever you write with, and you have to write. Or, you know, if it's singing, you know, you have to sing. I mean, whatever it is you want to do, it doesn't do itself.
Right.
So people think about these ideas, and they think about them and think about them and think about them. It's like, you know, just do it. Commit every single day to just sitting down. And here's the thing. There's going to be a first draft, and a first draft is just that. It's the beginning. Don't look at it and say, well, this doesn't sound very good. Just write. Just keep writing, keep writing, keep writing, keep writing. It will come eventually. And, you know, I think that, you know, get in your head, whatever it is, tell yourself I'm a writer, you know, have some, again, affirmations to yourself, and, you know, keep writing, and then think like a writer. You know, one of the things that I've realized over time is that you have to keep your curiosity alive. And one of the best ways to do that is to ask questions. And when you ask questions, you then get to answer those questions, you know, especially for me as a children's writer. If you want to write a novel, there's maybe a few different steps in there, but for a children's story, so much of it is asking questions and inquiring and wondering. And if we keep our curiosity and our enthusiasm and our inspiration, you know, going, that will help us when we sit down to write. Because, you know, let's face it, that sitting down and writing part, that's not like really fun. That's the work part of it. You know?
Let me ask you this. Do you have a set schedule, like a set place in your house, or where do you write? Like, do you have a certain, is it structured, or?
It is pretty structured, especially when I have an idea. Like, I just submitted 2 stories that I wrote. Oddly, I never submit 2 at the same time, but sometimes that's what happens. Inspiration feeds on inspiration. So when you're writing, you're like, you know.
Right.
The hard part is you have to stay focused, which for me can be a trouble. But I do have a space that's mine, and there's places in my office that help me. There's a spot for quiet. There's a spot for work. And I try to keep hours. You know, I try to just write.
So do you worry about how many words you write, or no?
No.
Or you just write.
And again, you know, a children's picture book is anywhere from 500 to 1,200 words. So if anything, I write far more, and then it's a matter of editing it down so that it's more condensed and it's more precise and it captures that. I don't know how people write novels, but you know, there's.
I'm writing it.
You are?
I was like, I am.
How many words do you have right now?
What's that?
I was asking Nora how many words she currently has for her novel.
She's still in the thinking phase.
It says by Nora. That's what it says.
Yeah, she's incubating.
She has the cover. She has the title on the book.
Hey, that's a start.
Covering her breath.
Is there any certain time of the day that you recommend? Do you have a certain time that you write every day, or is it, you know, like with musicians a lot of times, and I know it's different for a musician a songwriter, I guess I should say, you know, you hear them say a lot of times, well, when I feel it, they start writing. But as an author, that's very different. So
I think it is. Yeah. And for me, I'm a morning person. My clearest, truest, most inspirational thoughts and thought process and ability to focus, which is the key, is in the morning. So I like to get up early and write. Then late at night or even later in the afternoon, I can't, it doesn't flow for me. But I think if you tend to be a night person, I think that you're a night person or a morning person or whatever you want, because of that's when you feel good, and that's when your inspiration is there for anything, you know.
Do you think it
works out best in the morning?
Can you write with you know, a group of people around you? Do you think it's possible to do that, or how would you recommend somebody set up a writing space?
I've listened to a lot of different authors talk about writing, and I've read a lot of different things. I would say the majority of what I've heard and experienced is that, being by yourself, being quiet, whatever. I light a candle, lighting. I mean, I make sure that my area is conducive to me feeling good. And, sometimes when I'm writing a story in rhyme, I get the thoughts when I'm out walking or driving or in the shower. I think there's a few key things that every single person that wants to write could follow. And one of those is always have paper and pencil with you, no matter where you go, or your phone. If you're a note taker on your phone, I prefer, a notebook, because you never know when something's going to come to you. It might just be a conversation you hear, or a word, or an idea. And I can't tell you how many times if I don't write it down right, that I can't remember it. I can't bring it back, because it's inspiration. And that very word inspiration has a very deep meaning. I mean, if you look it up, it's a pretty interesting definition of what inspiration is. And Elizabeth Gilbert in Big Magic talks about inspiration and ideas looking for willing partners. And she says it much better than I ever could. But when I read it, it's like, that's how I feel. They come looking for you, these ideas, this inspiration. And if you say yes to them, they'll work with you. They're looking for a partner to manifest themselves, if you will. That's what she says. But if you say, no, I'm too busy, I don't have time, I don't like it, well, it'll go find somebody else.
So you're talking about keeping an open mindset, really, and paying attention to the signs and what's going on around you, and not be so with your head down into your phone, right?
Yeah, well, and that's those words, Jackie, paying attention, noticing, being aware. I think that's why meditation and mindfulness people are really latching onto it, not just now in this unique time, but when we are quiet is when we can hear whether it's the whispers or the shouts or whatever, so we can tune into it. So, and not to say that in a crowded place you can't be inspired. Don't get me wrong. I mean, sometimes I might be reading something or watching TV or a movie, and I'll hear something and it's like, oh, that's a good idea, So, I mean,
so Jackie, those kids can give you ideas. They're not loud.
Yeah, I can't write that kind of book though.
I think they already wrote it. It's like How to Get Away with Murder or something like that.
Right. Yeah, where is John, by the way?
Yeah, he's working here. He's working at home.
Good.
Gina, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, listening to Denise and what she said, okay, so she applied it to writing, but I think we can apply it to anything. Cleaning the house, starting a new exercise regime, eating better. You just need to start. You just need to do it. My mom has always said, whenever you're going to clean the house, start with the smallest room. So she always starts with the back room because she feels most successful. You can get that done. It's clean. You look around, you're like, oh, this is good. So for people who are during this quarantine time, want to tackle a project, and it's so overwhelming sometimes to clean the basement or organize the garage, start with something small and just do it.
Yeah.
I say that with organizing too, because I'm like a freak about that. It's like, start with, like everyone's like, I'm going to organize my whole closet. And it's like, take a tiny section of that closet, organize that, and then go from there. It's
That's true. That's a good point. And I think sometimes too with like if you are trying to take on a new project, especially something like writing a book or whatever, we overthink it too much. And it goes back to what you said about being a professional.
There you are, Gina.
You know what? It's getting darker and darker and darker.
There you are.
And I'm like, I'm gonna just step away.
She found light. But I think that's definitely a part of it is you just have to sit and do it and just start writing anything, because that's going to be your first draft, and you're going to do how many of those before you get to your last draft. So when you go through, let's say somebody who, whether they're writing a children's book or whatever, they just nonfiction, fiction, whatever, romance novel, what do they do after they go through and they come up with, this big manuscript? What do you recommend a first time, a newbie does?
And there's so many different things you can do. If there's different ways to get published now. Obviously, you can seek out the traditional publisher. You can, which a lot of publishing companies won't accept manuscripts unless you have an agent.
Right.
So you might, looking for an agent is a good place to start. And with the internet now, you can look up agents, and they will tell you what they're looking for, so you can fit your book to that agent. You can read what they're looking for and decide, yeah, that sounds like. And again, I think what you said, Jackie, is so true. We overthink it. Publishing companies are businesses that are looking to make money, and they're looking for a great story to make money on. I mean, that's what it boils down to. I do think it's a little bit harder for first-time authors because you don't have what they call a platform, something to stand on to really promote your book. But there's a lot of little things. Once you've done a first draft, set it aside for a while, because you can pick it back up with new eyes. I mean, it takes a long time. I started writing May in 2017, and it just came out in 2020. Wow. And that's a 800-word picture book. Now, it didn't have to get illustrated. So I share that because people think it's not a quick process. And so you have to be patient. I always tell kids, you need patience, you need to practice, and you need perseverance. I mean, those three things are
those are good for adults though too. So
yeah, we all need that.
Right? Keep writing. And so you've got your first draft. Get somebody, and this is hard because people don't know how to critique. They don't know how to critique without killing their dreams. They don't know how to critique to really help you make it better. There's a lot of writing groups out there, but even some of those have some horrible stories. I think one of the best things to do is find books. Like, one of my favorite books is Bird by Bird. I love this book. I don't know if you can see it, by Anne Lamott. And it's the subheading is Some Instructions on Writing in Life. And she talks a lot about, and she's a well-known author, but she gives you a lot of insight and advice. For novels, I think her advice would be better than mine. But, don't give up either. If you really love it and you think it's really good, you just have to keep working at it. Find people that will critique it for you. Look for an agent, and all that requires time and research. Talk to people, go to books. I can't really go to book signings right now, but you certainly can go on the internet and find a lot of information that would help as well.
Right. Good, really good advice. What about rejection? Because that's a big part of it.
And Jackie, you could probably talk about rejection, not because you've been rejected, but
wow. Thanks, Denise. Because I'm a loser. Is that what you're saying?
That's a whole other show.
What I meant.
That's a whole nother show.
No, because you're so good at understanding that. I mean, and I realize now that if you are rejected, it doesn't mean that it's not good or that you're not good.
Right.
Or that you're not even on the right track. I mean, I have a file full of rejection letters. I like to read them every now and then just to remind myself.
You do?
I do. I do.
That's
As
cool.
a matter of fact,
that's awesome.
The first time I submitted May, they turned it down. And I was hell-bent on the idea of it. But the first time I submitted it, when I look at what they turned down compared to what it is now, no wonder they turned it down, So it's rejection. It's part of life. And you just, if anything, if you want to be a writer, if you want to get something published, write the damn thing, send it out there, get rejected and get it over with, because it's going to happen. The chances it's going to get accepted the first time are pretty slim. So, see what it feels like. Go ahead.
We went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame many times for family trips. And I took a picture of the rejection letter. You made me think of this, that the Beatles got.
Oh, yep.
Because it's up there, and I took you weren't allowed to take pictures, but I took a little picture of it, and I had little cards made, gave them to the kids, and said, just keep this in mind that they were once rejected, and look at what happened. They ignored it. So just remember this.
Yep. Elvis was, told something ridiculous, and look what happened.
Well, yes, they all were.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, think about if you listen to that though, and you stop. Like I really do always just think of the Beatles, because when I read that letter, it was like, wow, thank God they didn't listen, because it was an expert that told them, that gave them that advice, So thank God they didn't listen to it. But yeah, I took a picture of it, and I have it because I know John Paul used to carry it around with him, because I wanted him to have it as a reminder that you just keep going with what's in your heart and don't worry about it, because even you've got a copy of their rejection letter. So
yeah. Make a list.
Yeah, make a list.
Set a timer.
Anyway, I love everything you're saying. So basically, really, it starts with mindset, is what you're saying, right? Sit down and just start writing. Don't try and make it perfect. Don't overthink it. What do you do to get around inspiration if you don't feel like you have that? How do you handle that?
Oh, I think that there's a few things that help me when I feel like my inspiration is lagging, if you will. One of the things is to do something new. I traveled a lot last year, and I couldn't believe how much all of my senses came alive when I was somewhere new. It was kind of shocking to me, actually. I felt like, I didn't want to sleep hardly, which is so weird for me.
Give us an example. Give us an example of a place you went where,
Well, I went to France. I went to the south of France.
Oh, you did?
We went
to
Nice.
That.
Yeah, and we went to,
wow.
I hate to pronounce them because I'm afraid I'm going to pronounce them wrong. All these places, Grasse. But it was the south of France. We stayed in this villa. Then we went to this little town, Antibes, that was, I just felt, this is going to sound strange, but I felt like my soul was on fire in a good way, like everything just seemed so fascinating, because it wasn't something I had never seen before. And the sounds and the smells and the way they do things. On one hand, I always feel like we're all so much alike. And on the other hand, you go somewhere and you see new things, and it just, I don't know, it felt really
so
good.
True. That's how I felt when I went.
Yeah.
I feel the same way.
It feels good. And Ireland was another place that,
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a good year. I'm glad it was last year, not this year, but.
Oh yeah, no kidding. Nora, you were supposed to be gone a couple days ago, I think.
Yeah, Monday. We're supposed to go to St. Thomas, to the islands.
The carnival, right? Was it the carnival?
Yeah.
Will they postpone that, or will they just cancel it altogether?
Oh no, it was canceled like back in April. March. They canceled it in March.
Wow.
But it was supposed to be the week that I was going. It was the last week of carnival. It was like 2 weeks.
Oh wow. Okay.
Oh man. Oh well. I remember before we took our break on the Nooner show, Nora kept saying, "No, I'm going. I'm still going to go." We're like, "I don't think you're going anywhere, Nora. You're staying home."
I had other plans.
Oh well, the universe said no.
I'm announcing all my new jobs now. I'm be a concrete layer, brick layer. I'm gonna be a truck driver.
Oh God. Oh boy.
I'm gonna write a novel. Yeah.
That's right.
Get on it.
I do agree with what you're saying. Well, actually, Nora, going back to that, you're supposed to start journaling. Did you start that?
No.
No. That was our last guest.
Nora, you gotta learn not to tell her things. Don't tell her you're gonna do things. Be
she has a way. I can't look at her. When I look at her, it just falls out. I don't know.
Listen.
She has a way. I think
No, you got to take lessons from me. You got to learn not to commit to anything with her. Hold your feet to the fire. So
I did not commit to journaling because I knew I wasn't going to do it.
Oh, that's true. But Denise, I agree with what you're saying. Being around something new or a new experience or trying something new or, yeah, you're right. Because we get in our comfort zone, stay in our routines, and then your mind doesn't really wander and explore.
Right. That's a good way of putting it. That's probably what happens. I also think little things like walking, you know, nature. I get inspired a lot of times when I'm out walking in the woods or, you know, walking somewhere.
I did discover that this past week, that there is a thing called outside. So, it was quite nice.
Yeah, actually, you did take a walk through the woods, didn't you?
Yeah.
Rocky?
There were like trees and there were leaves. And some of, like, a lot of dead leaves. They weren't alive yet, but.
Yeah, you brought a really big dead tree limb and put it in the breezeway. So
yeah, that's my walking stick. So don't throw that out.
It's gone. It's gone. It's gone.
She
burned
it.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
So the coyotes don't get you, Rocky?
Yeah, well, you never know. There's like critters out in the wild.
Yeah. Those coyotes, you'd be a nice little tasty little snack.
That's right. I was like, well, you know, if I bring Gia, maybe they'll take her instead, but you know.
I'm not bringing my baby. My baby's over here. My baby's doing the Nooner show with me. She's right under my chair.
I've got 2 with me also. Sorella turns 16 tomorrow.
Aw, happy birthday, Sorella.
Sorella is 16 tomorrow.
Wow.
Are we going to do a Zoom birthday party?
I know, really. We'll invite Lilo.
Yeah, well, Gia and Lilo.
I'm praying to God she just woke up, so I'm praying to God she doesn't start swearing on this show. You know, if I go to mute, you'll know I shut her down.
Yeah, really. All right, Denise, thank you so much for being on welcome. Here. It's great seeing you, and congratulations on being a granny pretty soon. What are you going to be called? Are you going to be called Grandma? Granny?
Grandma, I think so. Would you got any better ideas?
No.
Denise.
Own it. You're a granny. That's what mine call me. They call me Granny.
Granny?
Queen. Queen bee.
Queen? Yeah, there you go. There you go. That's not bad.
Hey, wait, let's do a fortune cookie.
Oh yes. Yeah. All right. Okay.
It better be good, Gina.
The stress, Laura.
Yeah, the whole box of them. All right.
I'm prepared.
Gina's doing it for all of us.
I'm doing it for all of us.
Yes.
If it's not good, I'm going to put it back. Good God. It's done.
Can't see it.
No, I can't see it. It's got a picture of it.
You were all write a novel.
I know.
Yeah.
Or a kid's book.
Your deepest wish will come true when you write a
novel.
It doesn't say when you write a book. You are making that up.
When you write a book, but your deepest.
Oh, okay. Well, that's okay. What does it say? Seriously.
Seriously, it says your deepest wish will come true.
Wow. I'll take it.
Wow.
All right, so
I'm taking truck driver school next week. So I'm going to
your deepest wish will come true when what, Jackie?
When everybody goes back. No. I'm only kidding. My deepest wish will come true when I get T-Money's book done.
Yeah.
No, your deepest wish will come true when?
For who?
I've really been working on it during this quarantine.
Oh, when I get my truck driving certificate.
Truck driving certificate. That's scary, Nora. My deepest wish will be when Nora's off the road.
Okay. When I'm zooming around your house up into the driveway to drop off salad.
Rocky, what about you? Your deepest wish will come true when?
My deepest wish will come true when my new music comes out.
Very good.
All right. Denise?
Very good. Denise?
I'm thinking when my grandbaby is born.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. What about you, Gina?
Awesome, Denise. Awesome. I'm telling you.
Yeah. What about you, Gina? Gina, what's yours?
My kitchen's done. When my
kitchen, when the kitchen is done.
Yeah.
We're having a dinner party.
I'm having a pajama party. I'm having a pampered chef party, this online pampered chef party. So maybe I'll get some new things and it'll inspire me to cook.
There you go.
She's going now. Denise, again, thank you so much. Words of encouragement. So hopefully for those of you that are tuning in, we know that a lot of people are struggling, and we're hoping that this 1 hour can distract you from what you can't control and focus on some things that you can control and pursue that dream. Just keep going. Don't give up on it. Keep going.
Hey, I did text my BFF Rio.
Okay.
Oh, you did?
I did, yeah, because I didn't want you to be disappointed. And she said it didn't drop yet. She needed talking about revision. She had to make some last minute tweaks, but hopefully this Friday.
Awesome.
All right.
We'll be looking out for it.
Perfect.
Yeah, so we'll watch.
Post that link. And also we have Denise's link up on our Facebook page, so you can look up all her books and order the books, because those kids need that. And if the kids don't need it, it will help you. I promise you. I read all of them. All right. Thanks, Denise. Thanks, ladies.
Bye, ladies.
Thank you, everybody.
All right, ladies, in all seriousness, I am having a pampered chef party. I'm going to send you a link because you never know. You might want to have something. It's online. You don't have to leave your house.
Okay.
Awesome.
All right.
So
when is it?
Yeah.
When is it?
Online this weekend. It's going to happen this weekend. You can look. You can buy something. You never know.
Awesome.
I'll be at truck driving school, so.
All right.
All right.
Nora, what's our Nora? Ending, Nora. Come on, get the fortune cookie.
Nora.
Sometimes the only mode of transportation available
is a leap of faith.
A leap of faith. Thanks for taking the leap of faith. Happy hump day. See you next Wednesday.
And thank you for our new theme song.
Yay.
Yes. Thank you, Kevin Sharp. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye.
Where's Dave?